the actual dawah is to call them, right? That's what dawah means, to call them, to invite them. So there would have to be kind of a transfer of knowledge, where you actually tell them that this is wrong and this is right. That you're calling them to the truth, whether that is in that particular instance, whether you're calling them to Allah directly, which is Tawheed, or whether you're kind of advising a Muslim to the right way of Islam, but simply having good actions, it is not dawah. I don't believe this is dawah. I think this supports the dawah. I think this is. Let me give you something to think about. A little thought experiment, right? Dawah, is it an obligation, Nadeem?
Yes, fard kifaya. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an obligation on the whole community, right? Not on the individual. If there is, for instance, Brother Nadeem, Brother Richard, and Brother John, that we're taking care of the dawah in, London or Newcastle or Manchester, and there's a group of brothers or sisters who are actually taking care of that obligation, then the obligation of dawah is actually removed from the rest of the Muslims. I'm talking about non-Muslim dawah, not the obligation of calling the Muslims to the correct way, because that's everyone's duty, right?
Yep.
I'm talking about the obligation of calling the non-Muslims, right? But having good actions is an obligation all the time on every Muslim. Doing these good deeds, doing good actions, whether it's helping people or doing good things, this is never removed from you. This is always an obligation.
Yeah.
So there's a great difference between, actually calling people to Islam.
I've seen a comment Sheikh Talha has put, and exactly opposite to what you're saying, and inshallah, I do want to address that. Look, I know that Sheikh Talha is he's one of those brothers, mashallah, comes on streams. He's always full of du'as, very lovely dawah, amazing akhlaq, ironically, right, mashallah. But look, as John said, the thing is, you have to be careful when a lot of brothers said, and I think we've actually mentioned this in the Dawah Hour for the past year many times, about this very line here, the best form of dawah. People say it so brazenly, so without thinking, the best form of dawah, right? Look, and Sheikh Talha, when I address this, please do not be upset or anything. Message me, brother. The thing is, there's so many ways of looking at it. Just look, who is the Uswat al-Hasana? Who is the best example for us in anything? It's Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And his sunnah. And so think about it. Yes, he had amazing akhlaq. He was known as the before Nabuwa, before revelation. But even after revelation, when he came, right? Even after, did he just say, you know what? I'm known amazing, and I'm just going to walk around, smile around, and keep my mouth shut and not approach anyone in the streets or anything. And then people will come and no, he actually verbally called people to Allah on the streets, in the alleyways, and around Makkah, beyond. He actually went up to people and called them. He didn't just walk around smiling, He didn't just say, and helping people. So the verbal call has to be there. The verbal call has to be there.
Nadeem, I think what people often misunderstand is that these are characteristics of a da'i. This is lesson one of dawah. The lesson of a Muslim, they're characteristics of a Muslim, but they're definite, or they should be characteristics of a da'i. And this is, if you go and study dawah with a sheikh or somebody who is senior in Islam, not us guys, we just try our best. I'm talking about someone who is a the first lesson is characteristics of a da'i.
Absolutely.
And what Sheikh Talha is mentioning is exactly right. All these points he's mentioning is that this is how we should be. This is like the prerequisite giving dawah, that you need to be the best Muslim. You should be practicing what you preach. And I understand from that perspective, but that in and of itself is not calling to Islam. Yes, that may be a reason that Muslims might be attracted to Islam, But simply being attracted to Islam is not going to make them a Muslim. What do you need? Would you like to be a Muslim? Do you know what Islam is? And you have to explain and transfer the knowledge, because this knowledge, the fitra knowledge, which you're born with, is not enough to be a Muslim. You need to actually declare the Shahada. And how do you know what the Shahada is if nobody tells you? So it requires somebody to tell you. You know, I'm not talking about people who have not heard the message of Islam. Yeah, people who have not heard the message of Islam, inshallah, the fitrah is enough. Allah will give you a test on Yawm al-Qiyamah, and inshallah, you will be fine. But for people who have not heard the message or come into contact with Muslims, you know, it requires seeking knowledge. It requires a certain level of knowledge about Allah and how to worship Allah. You know, and this is done through conveying the message. You know, it's not enough just for people to be attracted through manners and be attracted to the Muslims. You know, it requires actually learning the belief system, you know.